Well, you're Chris Schumacher, and you're one of the founders of Next Door Organics. Man, you guys are going to take over the world. We'll never have to go to these, supermarkets again and get all this crappy food. We get it from guys like you who are going to deliver it fresh from the farm the next day, right?
That's right.
How'd you get into this, Chris?
Oh, well, I grew up on a sustainable tree farm, and I got really interested in the waste in the food industry. So a couple years ago, started with with my business partner, and started growing food on my parents' farm and selling it at farmers markets in Brooklyn. And have been growing the business since then, trying to create new ways to connect people with their food.
But in addition to that's a farmer market, but now you're involved in the other side of this fresh business with it's called the Community Supported Agriculture, or CSA. And what's the theory behind that? What is that all about?
Well, the CSA, the traditional CSA, Community Supported Agriculture, is where the community or the food buyers subsidize the risk for the farm by paying in advance. So usually the traditional model, they pay $600 to $1,000 in the spring, and they get a share of whatever crops are grown on the farm. So our model, which is the alternative CSA, we take the risk ourselves, and the consumers or whoever is being the benefit, the community doesn't really have to take that risk. So we let them buy on a membership program, and any week that they want to cancel or postpone, if they're going on vacation, they can, they don't have to pay for that week, or they can cancel at any time. So we hold the risk for the farm, so we guarantee a certain supply.
So no, I pay you like $20 to $50 a week, and I pick up my great bunch of fresh fruit and vegetables every week. And if I go away for a week or something, I don't have to keep paying you if I'm not there, or I have enough, broccoli.
Broccoli or kale or whatever species.
But also you have a shopping service for this is all local food. So when we go to a CSA, we're buying local stuff like down the street. So it comes off the farm one day and I get it the next day, right?
Exactly. I mean, in addition to the stuff that's pulled right out of the ground, we also have, local food artisans who make, different sauces, breads, any kind of prepared shelf-stable food.
I see.
That's made all within, the community.
So it's like the same stuff I'd see at a farmer's market, all the other stuff there, even eggs or something.
You see at the farmer's market in one place.
Yeah, so I could go online now and do it from you, and you either deliver or I go to a local place and pick it up or whatever, right?
Exactly. So when you log in, you would see your pickup locations or your delivery times for your neighborhood, and you just select your membership based on that.
That's right. So there's no commitment. I'm just committing a week at a time, per se. So
exactly. 1 week at a time.
So
$20 minimum.
Yeah, so I could test you for $20 and get at least save a trip to fighting the carriages.
You'd rather like to go to the farmer's market yourself after a couple of weeks. No problems.
And it's all really local community farmers, right? So, these are not people in the middle of Iowa giving me food in New York City or anything like that.
Right. This is all, this is all within, say, 100 to 200 miles.
Wow. So it's really supporting.
A lot of it is much closer than that.
So it's giving your money also to your local neighbors, as opposed to the guy in Iowa. I don't know at all. He's not getting much of it anyway. Now you're saying that community farming like this, the farmer gets how much again?
In our case, I would say probably close to 70 cents per the dollar.
Wow. And in Iowa, when I'm buying food from them, how much does the farmer get there?
Yeah, 6 to 10 cents.
Wow.
It's very little. There's several chains in between, and it's wholesale price to the difference between the wholesale price and the retail price is extreme.
So what you're also doing then is making farming more profitable for farmers, and we could have more farmers around our area because there's going to be more money in it because they'll get more money than The people in Iowa only get 10 cents.
Everyone who has land could be a farmer.
So in other words, basically, I could take my backyard, I got maybe 1/4 of an acre here, and make it profitable to sell some, fresh fruits and vegetables to you guys even, right?
Yeah, of course.
And you'd sell it to my other neighbor who's, too lazy to come over and see that I have it here.
Right.
And I got a profit-making backyard instead of paying some guy to cut the lawn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But another figure you told me earlier is that, the organic farming produces like $100,000 an acre.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Oh.
It requires planting things close together. It requires, big tractors don't work.
Right.
It requires hand tools and old-fashioned techniques, but actually, techniques that have been reinvented recently.
I see.
So they've been there's been a lot of activity on the high yield, small scale farming.
$100,000 an acre. I mean, that's better than putting up condos, man. If I'm going to make that kind of money. and you were saying earlier that maybe a farm in Iowa or whatever, they're lucky to make $10,000-$15,000 an acre, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. I mean, that's what a waste of land. I mean, if we could make $100,000 out of it versus $10,000 or $15,000, man, that's amazing. And plus the transportation costs, you're cutting that out, right?
Exactly. I mean, I think the average. I don't want to quote a real number.
Right, doesn't matter.
Really. Over 1,000 miles is the average transportation time for transportation distance for food in the U.S.
Wow, 1,000 miles. And so maybe 10 miles away, I'm getting fruits and vegetables that were picked yesterday, and I get them on the table today.
Exactly, they were picked for you.
Yeah, because I know Chris is there. Yeah, I mean,
because we send the farmers the list, so they pick, what has been sold. So we know what's actually been picked has been picked for you as a customer.
I see. So you even know ahead of time what's available, and
yeah. And maybe sometime in the future we'll be able to say where your piece of broccoli was.
I see.
Right now that's a little bit, that's science fiction.
Yeah, you're going to get every farm will have their little logo on their broccoli. Huh?
Yeah.
Someone told me Idaho, they wanted to stamp a seal on every potato that came out of there or something like that. Well, this is wonderful. And you're a bright guy. I mean, you got an MBA and you're a farmer now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big industry, and I think the MBA came in handy.
Right. Exactly. That's what you're missing. But I mean, you have a sense for the agriculture because your family business is in that, and it's just great to see young people like you involved in an important part of our society, which is food, instead of living it all to these conglomerates who've never tasted any of this stuff anyway. They just eat at 4-star restaurants that's getting local food like you. These guys never eat their own food. They're getting it for places like you, and you can give that wonderful flavor, taste, and particularly, God, helping local communities, be sustainable by having local food, so we don't have to worry about the next hurricane in Iowa.
Exactly.
And to find you, Chris, we go to where?
www.nextdoororganics.com.
Nextdoororganics.com. If you're in Brooklyn or Manhattan right now, that's how to find you. If you're trying to find similar places around the country, you would search for what? Community-supported agriculture? Is that what it's called?
Community-supported agriculture, CSA, or an alternative CSA programs.
I see. Because you're really an alternative. The basic one is you give a bunch of money up front. But the alternative ones, like you, give pay-as-you-go or whatever.
Right. And if you usually the traditional ones are supporting one farm.
I see, right.
And if you really have a farm that you want to support, then that's a great program to do. But our method is maybe a little bit more convenient for most people.
Right. Well, wonderful. Okay, so go to Next Door Organics, find out about Chris and what CSAs are all about. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.